The next speaker will be the Charlene Fontain. She is the descendant of the Flying Tigers. Let's welcome Charlene.
Thank you, Betty. Good afternoon. You have heard lots of stories today about how the Flying Tigers worked tirelessly with the Chinese people. I'd like you to rewind with me for just a few moments, please. I'd like you to understand about what happened in the 40s. Diana spoke earlier about Madame Chiang Kai-shek and the strong woman she was. If it weren't for Chiang Kai-shek himself, my dad's squadron, which was the 69th Depot Repair Squadron, would have never been in China, and China may have lost the war, and we would all be singing a different tune right now. So in the early 40s, Chiang Kai-shek asked our government, the US government, to please provide them with a special top-secret 4th Echelon Squadron that was to be part of the 14th Air Force Flying Tigers. These men were 350 men that were from all over the United States that had all types of trade skills. They were mechanics, tool and die makers, electricians, knew how to work with wood, knew how to craft things, knew how to redesign, retool the aircraft. They were stationed in Kunming, but before they got to Kunming, they had a tremendous adventure coming from the US, going across 2 oceans, up through India, into Assam, India, at the foot of the Himalayan mountains. And then they got their orders. They were going to drive 6x6 trucks or tractor-trailer trucks like my dad's workshop was in. And they were going to take it on the Burma Road. Oh yes, and the Burma Road had 23 switchbacks in it, which means they would be one moment switching this way, and then the next way, and up and down, and they got to the top of the mountains, and then the next day they were in the valleys. My father was so impressed with the Chinese countryside, and the beauty, and the people, and how important it was of what they were to do. The 69th mission was to keep the planes flying. And that was exceedingly important because the supply routes, the Japanese had closed off all the ports in China and the road itself. And so there was no way for supplies to get into China at all. And so they were hurting. There was no food. There was no equipment. There was no gasoline. They were just in a starvation mode. And so here come these folks from the US, the 69th, and they were bound and determined to not fail. They knew they could not fail. Because if they did, they would never make it home, and they would not be in their mission to keep the planes flying. And most of all, they would not be able to help save the Chinese people who were starving, who had lost loved ones and lost their homes. So off we go on the Burma Road. And Dad felt that once he got his workshop set up and made friends with his Chinese coworker, that everything would be smooth. Well, there were tremendous challenging times. One of the times was the culture. Here were all these white-blooded Americans showing up from the Midwest who didn't even know where China was on a map and didn't know anything about their culture, their customs, their food. But they did know how to relate to poverty. They knew how to relate to starvation because they had been through it. These men were 17 through 45. My dad was in his late 20s. This is my dad, Stuart Fontain, staff sergeant. And Dad loved being in China. He said he wished he had been there when it wasn't war, because he was a country boy. He fell out in Ohio, and he would go fishing and hunting with his family, his brothers and his dad. And they loved that. And so when he was in China, the thing that really impressed him was the countryside. So there were so many things that Dad was so impressed with. And one of the big ones was the Chinese people's resilience. He said, sis, whatever we had to have be done, they were there to do it. They didn't have shoes on their feet. They didn't have hardly any clothes on their back. But we said we have to do this, and they did it. We had a factory in the base in Kunming, and it worked 24/7. And the reason why it worked 24/7 was because of our Chinese colleagues and their partners. So that was yesteryear. Let's fast forward to what the 69th is doing today, which is really important because a lot of people you've heard speak today and you've heard talk about things is very simple. The future generation are the youngsters in this audience. Those are the ones that we have to tell the stories to. Those are the ones that will carry the legacy of all the flying tigers and all the people forward in our world. They are the ones that will bring peace. They are the ones that will take the legacy from the shoulders on which we stand. My father taught me one very, very important thing that I would like to impart to all of you. And please share it with your children, your grandchildren. First of all, when somebody tells this little 5-foot woman she can't do something, she stands up and she simply says, I am the daughter of the flying tiger. You have no idea who you're talking to. I do not know the meaning of quit, can't do, stop, or most of all, impossible. Because you know what? My father couldn't do that, and the 69th couldn't do that, and neither could the AVGs or the 14th Air Force Flying Tigers. So when somebody tells you all that, please stand up and say, you don't have to say you're a daughter of a flying tiger, but please impart that wisdom to them because it's exceedingly important. I am very weary in our country of hearing from people in different industries that, oh, well, that's impossible. No, you haven't looked at it correctly. Change your perception. That's exactly what the Flying Tigers did. They changed their perception. They knew they had an impossible mission, and they successfully completed it. And so now I'd like to go fast forward and tell you exactly what we're doing. We are awarding scholarships. I sit on the foundation board for Chenault Foundation. Nell Chenault sits on the 69th Flying Tiger board. We have now a new flight school that's FAA approved in Texas. We have a brand new A&P school where if you all have in the audience or have family members or friends or neighbors who would like to be an A&P, let me get the right words, mechanic technician, please let me know. Go to the 69th website, which is back on that board, and I have lots of business cards in my pocket, and there were flyers handed out today. We are announcing that we are awarding, and we are open for scholarship applications for the A&P, our A&P schools, and our pilot schools. We are opening the new scholarship program, Chenault 69th DRS A&P Scholarship. And we are so excited about it. We have 3 ways somebody can attend our schools. First of all, you can attend in Texas, and you can put your bottom in the seat and be in a classroom. If that doesn't work for someone, we have the online program. If that doesn't work, we have an awesome program for senior high school kiddos, junior and senior years. You can be a junior and apply at your high school and get in touch with our organization, and you will be able to attend high school and receive 500 credits, graduate with your regular degree, but then you can come to our A&P school and graduate with 15 units. So we're ready. That's our future. Our father's dreams were very simple. So there's one young man. Their dreams was this. We must have peace. We must have better lives for our families, our countries, and our world. We stand on their shoulders now. The 69th and the Chenault Foundation stands on their dreams. I encourage every single one of you to create a new dream, to carry peace forward in our world. Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate your time and your attendance. And most of all, I'd like to honor our dads right now and simply say this. When something was right for them in China, they would smile, they would say, thank you, sheshe, and then they would go, ding hao. So thank you, ding hao.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Yeah, I salute your father. And I really learned, it's so touched, I really learned the flying tiger spiritual. I'm good friends of flying tigers. Thank you.